Did you know that snakes poop through a single multi-purpose opening called the cloaca, expelling both solid and liquid waste efficiently? Their long, tubular digestive system is uniquely adapted to process entire prey, breaking down even bones and fur. Hello, curious minds. Welcome to another episode of Midnight Question. Today, we are talking about something that might sound a little gross, but it's surprisingly fascinating. How do snakes poop? If you're like me, this is one of those weird questions that sneaks into your mind during the quiet hours of the night. I mean, snakes are basically long tubes with no legs. So where does the poop go? And how does it get out? As it turns out, there's a lot more to snake digestion and waste removal than you would think. So let's dive into the biology of snakes and figure out exactly how they handle their bathroom business. First, let's break down the basics. Snakes are elongated reptiles with most of their organs stretched out in a long, narrow body. Since they don't have limbs, their internal structure is quite different from other animals, but it is also surprisingly efficient. Their digestive system is more or less a straight line that runs from their mouths to their cloaca, which is a multi-purpose opening that we will get into later. When a snake eats, it usually swallows its prey whole, which is one of the coolest things about snakes. Their teeth and jaw are designed to grip and slowly move food down the throat. Once inside, the food travels down the esophagus to the stomach, where the process of digestion begins. Snakes have incredibly strong stomach acids that can break down even bones, fur, and feathers from their prey. The part of the meal they cannot digest, like fur, claws, or exoskeletons, pass through the intestine and eventually become waste. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Unlike humans or other mammals, snakes do not have separate openings for excreting urine and feces. Instead, they have a cloaca, which is a single opening used for all bodily waste, as well as reproduction and even egg laying in female snakes. The word cloaca comes from the Latin word sewer, and it's a pretty accurate description of this all in one function. The cloaca is located near the base of the snake's tail. If you have ever handled a snake and wonder where its rear end is, it's right before the tail tapers off. This is where everything, and I mean everything, urine, feces, and reproductive fluids come out. It's like a Swiss army knife of snake anatomy. Okay, now that we know where snakes poop, what does it actually look like? Well, snake poop can vary depending on the size and species of the snake, as well as what the snake has been eating. In general, snake feces is brown and solid, but because snakes expel both solid and liquid waste through the same opening, you will often see a combination of feces and uric acid, a white, chalky substance that is similar to bird droppings. Uric acid is how reptiles like snakes excrete nitrogenous waste without losing too much water, which is especially important for snakes living in dry environments. You might notice that snake poop contains indigestible materials from their prey, like fur, feathers, or bones, which aren't fully broken down during digestion. This waste is passed out along with everything else when the snake is ready to, well, do its business. Here's a fun fact. Snakes don't poop nearly as often as we do. Since they have such slow metabolisms, especially when compared to mammals, snakes don't need to eat or poop very often. Depending on the species and the size of the meal, a snake might only poop once every few days or even once every few weeks. After a snake eats, it can take days or weeks to fully digest its meal, particularly if it was a large one. A snake can go days or even months without eating again after a big meal. For example, some pythons can go months without a meal and therefore will poop very infrequently during this time. So, how exactly does a snake poop? Well, it's not too different from how other mammals expel waste, But it's worth noting that snakes rely heavily on the muscles in their cloacal region to push the waste out. After the food is digested in the stomach, it moves into the small and large intestine, where nutrients are absorbed. Anything that is not useful to the snake gets moved to the cloaca, ready to be expelled. Because snakes don't have legs or pelvic bones to help push waste out, they use their strong body muscles to contract and expel the waste from the cloaca. Sometimes this results in a splat rather than a neat little pile, especially if the snake's meal contained a lot of liquid. Snake poop might not seem like a big deal, but it plays an important role in ecosystems. For one, snake feces are full of nutrients that help fertilize soil and promote plant growth. Snakes, like other predators, are a key part of the food web, and their waste helps recycle nutrients back into the environment. In some cases, scientists can even analyze snake poop to learn more about the diets and habits of different species. By studying what a snake has eaten, researchers can get a better understanding of the snake's role in its habitat, its hunting patterns, and even its health. Now, you might be wondering, what happens when snakes go into brumation? Brumation is similar to hibernation, but it's specific to reptiles. During brumation, snakes slow down their metabolisms to conserve energy during colder months, and they also stop eating. So, do they also stop pooping too? Well, yes, they do. Snakes in brumation don't eat much, if at all, so there's nothing to process or excrete. When they emerge from brumation in the warmer months, they will start eating again and the cycle resumes. Snakes can sometimes get constipated, just like humans. If a snake is having trouble passing waste, it could be due to dehydration, stress, or an impactation caused by something they ate and didn't break down properly, like large bones or fur. Snake constipation is often treated by soaking the snake in warm water or gently massaging the belly to help loosen the blockage. So, to sum it up, snakes may be long and legless, but they've got a surprisingly efficient system for handling their waste. Their cloaca takes care of everything, from expelling poop to reproductive functions. And while they don't get regular in the way we do, their slow metabolisms mean they poop infrequently. But when they do, it's an important part of keeping ecosystems in balance. I hope you found this episode of Midnight Question as fascinating as I did. Next time you are at the zoo or maybe hiking through the wilderness, give a little thought to how even the tiniest creatures contribute to the world in ways we might never think about. Until next time, stay curious and keep those midnight questions coming. I am Mari, and this is Midnight Question.